So guys, quite a lot has happened since we last did one of these. Let's talk about it all. Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. We have several talking points to go over in today's video. We've got loads of new managers coming into the league, loads of speculation going around the championship at the moment, and loads of done deals as well. If you do go to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like. If you get it 350 likes, that would be massively appreciated. As always, get all your thoughts on all the latest deals going on in the championship down below. But without any further ado, let's start out by talking about some of the new managerial appointments that have happened in the last week. So let's start out by talking about Ishmael, who has been announced as the new West Brom manager. West Brom have been through quite a few people on their shortlist, but eventually they've got here, and I think this is a really good appointment. He defied all expectations last season in getting Barnsley to the playoffs, and at West Brom, I mean, there's expectations on him straight away, which wasn't the case at Barnsley last season. West Brom are fancied to be one of the stronger teams in the Championship next season, along with the other two relegated clubs that they've come back down to the Championship with. On paper, we'll still wait to see what their squad's looking like come the first game of the season, because there could still be quite a few changes in that team, but at the moment it's looking strong for the Championship. One of the questions people will point towards is style of play, because he was very direct at Barnsley. That sort of suited them with being the underdogs and things like that. Will he be adaptable enough to sort of play to the strengths of this current West Brom side? That'll be something that comes with time, but yeah, really interested to see how that one turns out. I think it's a good appointment for West Brom. And after that, we then had Marcus Shop, who's gone ahead and replaced Ishmael as the new Barnsley manager. By all accounts, he seems to really fit the pedigree here. He's got a good track record already of developing youngsters and bringing them on. That suits Barnsley down to a T in terms of their current club model, the current group of players that they've got within, you know, that core basis. It is one of the youngest, if not the youngest squads in the Championship. Previous work has been in Austria, and he does have a background of being an analyst as well. This one, I do think, ticks a lot of boxes here for Barnsley. And we've also had the conclusion to one of the more drawn out managerial situations. Scott Parker has now completed the move to Bournemouth after going ahead and leaving Fulham. Now, quite a few things to take into consideration here, obviously. On the plus side, Bournemouth here have got a young and upcoming manager who's already got experience behind him of being in charge of over 100 matches for Fulham. He has a promotion on his CV as well, which I think is absolute gold dust for Championship managers, and that will be Bournemouth same going into next season. But there are still some reservations about Scott Parker. You know, with his inexperience probably came a few mistakes from his tenure at Fulham. He was very sort of stubborn to sticking to his system, very sort of possession oriented. He wasn't maybe as adaptable as he could have been at times, but no doubt his objective with that Bournemouth squad will be to challenge for promotion from the get-go. And speaking of Fulham, this hasn't yet been announced, but as of recording, it is looking like Marco Silva is the clear front-runner to replace Scott Parker as the new Fulham manager. Now, obviously, every managerial appointment comes with a bit of risk, you know, versus reward, and the club obviously has to weigh that sort of thing up. I think this would be quite an exciting appointment. I know that he's had a bit of a mixed spell in England, obviously. I thought he did quite well at Hull, really, given the circumstances. Did well at Watford, and then his time at Everton didn't exactly go to plan, especially towards the end and things like that. But in terms of what Fulham are looking for next season and what Marco Silva can potentially offer them, you know, he is someone who looks to nurture those forward-thinking players. I don't know, I think there's quite a bit to like about that deal if it was to happen. But that's all the latest managerial speculation and things that have been announced in that regard. Let me know down below, what have you made of it all recently. Now let's jump into some completed transfers that I've gone through in the past 5 or so days. Semi Ameobi completed a free transfer to Middlesbrough after his contract has expired at Nottingham Forest. Obviously, Middlesbrough looking to add a few more wide options to their team. Bit of a hit and miss season last time around for Ameobi, as he scored 3 goals for Forest in the Championship. To be honest, that probably sums him up. He's a little bit of a hot and cold player, isn't he? Judge Grant has signed for Peterborough. I quite like this acquisition, actually. He's another forward-thinking option who's going to come into that side. He's coming off the back of an excellent individual season with Lincoln, where he scored 13 goals and got 9 assists. Sensible bit of business. David Cornell has also joined Peterborough. The goalkeeper joins on a free transfer. Another goalkeeper on the move is Gillingham's Jack Bonham. He's completed the move to Stoke City to add to their goalkeeping options. Chukwuemeka is back in the Championship, linking up with his former manager Lee Bowyer at Birmingham. He's coming off the back of quite a good season actually with Charlton, as he scored 15 goals for them, with the majority of his appearances coming on from the bench. It'll be interesting if Birmingham look to utilise him as a bit of a super sub as well. Birmingham have also completed the deal for winger Jordan Graham. He he looks to add a bit more pace to that forward line. And midfielder Ryan Woods has also joined on a 3-year contract. Obviously, we've most recently seen him playing in the Championship out on loan at Millwall. We could potentially see a midfield two there at Birmingham next season of Woods and Sunjic. There could be a decent amount of balance in there. I quite like Ryan Woods, to be honest with you. Quite a busy midfielder, looks to get on the ball. Yeah, positive sign in there. Chelsea goalkeeper Nathan Baxter has completed the loan move to Hull City. I really like this deal. We did a video a couple months ago looking into the highest performing League One players who I thought could step up to the Championship next season, and Nathan Baxter was one of the people we picked out. His goalkeeping stats were up there in League One last season as he was loaned out to Accrington, and he certainly deserved this next loan spell, you know, up now to a Championship club. I think he'll be quite good. Amari Bell has joined Luton Town. Interesting that he's chosen Luton over staying at Blackburn. He's quite a forward-thinking fullback, which suits Luton down to a T really with what they're after from their fullbacks. West Brom midfielder Raheem Harper has completed the move to Ipswich Town. This comes after Andre Dazelle has moved to QPR. And another player going from the Championship to Ipswich is QPR striker Macaulay Bonne. He's going on a loan deal to Portman Road. For the striker, it's not quite worked out for him at QPR yet. He's 25, but he's still a little bit rough around the edges, isn't he? He only scored the 3 goals for QPR last season. Carlos Mendes Gomez has completed the move to Luton Town. Really excited to see how this deal turns out. He's coming off the back of a terrific season with Morecambe where he scored 16 goals. Very versatile in the positions that he can play, anywhere across that sort of forward line or into midfield. I think that Luton have got a bit of a gem on their hands there. Stoke City defender Nathan Collins has completed the move to Burnley. We spoke about this one in quite some detail in the last transfer rumour round video, but this one has since been confirmed. I think that this suits all parties really. Stoke get a good sizable fee for the player, and he gets a move to Burnley where he's got the chance to step up to Premier League football. And Stoke wasted absolutely no time in bringing in his replacement. Ben Wilmot has joined from Watford. Ben Wilmot didn't really get much of an opportunity to shine last season at Watford. He had other people ahead of him in the pecking order, so he'll have a point to prove this season at Stoke, and I think that it's quite a sensible reinvestment of that money. Preston North End have completed the deal for Rotherham United's Matthew Olasunde on a free transfer. I believe that we may be due to pay Rotherham some money in compensation, but officially on a free transfer. I think this one's a really good deal for North End actually. He's a good carrier of the ball into the final third, and with North End potentially going with that wing-back system next season, I think he'll suit that down to a T. Arsenal centre-half Daniel Ballard has completed a loan move to Millwall for the season. I know that a lot of Blackpool fans were hopeful to get him back on loan for this season, but he's ended up at the Den. Probably one of the best centre-halves in League One in this last season just gone by. To play and be a part of that 3, I think Millwall have got a really good player there for this season. Blackpool have completed the deal for Callum Connolly. You can see the recruitment strategy is quite clear from Blackpool here. It's another player picked up who's been let go by a Premier League club. Did well out on loan at Fleetwood last season where he made 42 appearances. So yeah, all in all, decent signing. And they also completed the deal for Kings Lynn midfielder Sonny Carey. He'll be stepping up to the EFL for the first time here. Cardiff have snapped up Crewe midfielder Ryan Wintle. He spent the last 5 years at Crewe where he's made over 180 appearances. Derby County striker Jack Marriott has completed the move on a free transfer to Peterborough United, so linking up with his former side here. This signing for Derby just never really worked out, did it? He did well originally in that first season where he scored 10 goals. A lot of his minutes even then came from off the bench, and then since has really had a tough time with injuries. He spent a bit of last season out on loan at Sheffield Wednesday where he didn't really get up to much. I couldn't believe how young he still is. He's only 26 years old. I thought he was much older than that, but yeah, Peterborough just need to try and rekindle the player that he once was. But guys, those are all the recent transfers which have gone through in the Championship. Now without any further ado, let's hop into some transfer rumours. So the big one to talk about first of all is Alex Mowatt. This deal may have already been confirmed by the time you guys are watching, but as of recording, he has now left Barnsley after not signing a contract renewal. Barnsley put out a statement before saying that they'd offered him a contract which was the most lucrative deal ever offered to a Barnsley player, but Mowatt obviously decided against that extension. It's looking like for all the money at the moment that a move to West Brom will be on the cards here, and for him to be linking up with his former manager Valérien Ismaël. I think that suits both parties pretty well, to be honest with you. I think that Mowatt proved last season, undoubtedly, that he is at least a top-end championship player. West Brom were in need of rework in that midfield especially, and Mowatt gives you a bit of everything, to be honest with you. He's got a bundle of energy in there, he does the defensive work and also has real quality going forward with 8 goals and 7 assists last season. He's a good personality to have around the dressing room as well, and that for me would be an excellent acquisition on a free transfer. There's quite a bit of speculation going on around Sheffield Wednesday for Josh Windass at the moment, and quite a bit to unpack with this story. The last time we spoke about this potential move to Millwall was when they had their latest bid turned down by Sheffield Wednesday. Since then, there was a bit in the national media about Sheffield Wednesday potentially putting a £5 million price tag on the forward. However, local reports in Sheffield have since claimed that to be not the case. It's unclear at the moment how much a bid would take for Windass to be tempted away from Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, from Wednesday's point of view, I'm sure they're keen to keep hold of the player. He was their top scorer from last season, scoring 10 goals, and I think would actually be a really good asset in League One if they are looking to bounce back at the first time of asking. Now, Windass's dad has actually said that the player would be up for staying at Sheffield Wednesday if the off-the-field issues were to be resolved. Another player that Millwall are after, and as of recording, this one looks to be fairly close to completion, is Stoke City striker Benik Afobe. This one would be on a season-long loan. I believe that Afobe's got 1 year left on his deal at Stoke, so that would take him to the end of his contract there. And by all accounts, this one would tick a lot of boxes for Millwall and what they're after in terms of the profile of striker that they're looking for. Now, in terms of Afobe's move to Stoke, an absolute car crash of a signing this one, you know, all in. He originally came on loan, and I think in the end it was a £12 million fee that they paid for him. They got a bit out of him in that first season where I think he scored 10 goals in all competitions, but after that they've had no return of the sort, have they? He's had a couple of loan spells out, one to Bristol City where he did well originally but then picked up an injury, and he's most recently been out on loan in Turkey. Honestly, I've always quite liked Benik Afobe. He is someone who can score goals at this level. Stoke's just been a bit of a graveyard for strikers to go to recently, so yeah, if he can get up and firing at Millwall, that one's not a bad deal. Nottingham Forest have been linked with a move for Watford forward Philip Zinkernagel. Now, this one really got me quite intrigued. I'd love to get some Watford fans' perspectives on this one down below, because my first initial instinct was, would Watford be willing to let him go? I know that he wasn't necessarily like a nailed-on first teamer in that promotion side, but we saw glimpses of Zinkernagel last season, and I thought he did well on, you know, quite a few occasions. He finished with 5 assists and 1 goal after only making 9 starts and 11 appearances from the bench. He played a lot of his football sort of centrally, didn't he? But originally I think he came in as a bit of a right winger, but that position was obviously already taken up by Sarr. He's obviously still got several years left on his contract there at Watford and things like that. From Forest's perspective, obviously I can see why they want a player like Zinkernagel, because I thought he was, you know, really quite good in the Championship last time round. They've obviously lost a bit of creativity as well with Freeman, who I know didn't play a lot last season, Knockout going back on both on their loan moves. They've lost Anamiobi as well. I mean, if Forest could pull it off, it would be a terrific deal, you know, maybe even on a loan move or something like that, but it remains to be seen whether Watford will be willing to let him go or not. And another player that the Nottingham Forest are being linked to is Brentford's Emiliano Marcondes, now obviously a free agent after not being offered a new deal at Brentford. This deal seems to be a little bit further along than the Zinkernagel deal, which is just sort of like paper talk at the moment. I think it would be a really good deal. Obviously, Marcondes, an inconsistent player, but certainly had his moments. That would be a good deal if Forest pulled it off. Middlesbrough have been linked with a move to out of favour Watford striker Andre Gray. Obviously, we saw him in the Championship last season where he was sort of in and out of that side as the year went on, wasn't he? He scored 5 goals all in all for Watford during their promotion season, but he's sort of been second fiddle there for the past couple of years now, hasn't he? I believe he's just got the 1 more year left on his contract at Watford. It's obvious to say that Middlesbrough are in the market for strikers after letting go of both Fletcher and Assombalonga, so the interest here does make sense. Borough fans, would Gray be someone who you'd be interested in? Newcastle United midfielder Matty Longstaff has been linked to quite a few clubs at the moment, a few Championship clubs in the mix for this one, with both Middlesbrough and West Brom being mentioned in the conversation. There has been Premier League interest as well. Norwich have been another club mentioned, as well as Anderlecht. Sheffield United have been one of the clubs linked to Stoke City midfielder Joe Allen. This comes after Stoke are looking to continue to trim their wage bill going into next season. I'm not sure if this one makes total sense from Sheffield United's point of view going into next season, given the players that they already sort of have in midfield. You'd think that they'd be looking for a bit bit more energy in there if anything. QPR are still very much interested in Fulham midfielder Stefan Johansson after how well he did for them last season, but they do face stiff competition now with Blackburn Rovers entering the race for the midfielder. From Blackburn's point of view, this one makes perfect sense. They've just lost a player in Lewis Holtby who had that quality to sort of pick up the ball from those deep positions and play those sort of defence splitting passes. Johansson is in a very similar mould to that. However, if Johansson's got the choice between QPR and Blackburn, given where each club's at the moment, surely QPR would edge it in that case, but hey, crazier things had happened. We'll wait and see what happens with that one. Leicester City defender Josh Knight is set to sign for Peterborough United. This was one area of the squad where we all said, okay, Peterborough probably need to address this going into next season, given the amount of goals they conceded last time in League One. But Knight, fresh off the back of a loan spell at Wycombe, where I thought he did fairly well given the circumstances. He's fairly versatile as well in the positions that he can play, sort of anywhere along that back line or further forward into midfield, and at only 23 comes in at a good age. Blackpool are keen to take Ellis Sims back on loan for next season, but do face competition from other Championship clubs after the striker did well out on loan at Blackpool last season. But guys, there we have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and get any other rumours that we didn't mention today in the comments down below. Sure, there's loads to go over for next time's one. As always, if you did go on to enjoy, guys, make sure to leave a like and do stick around and subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.